let's talk about some things happening around the NFL. Tom Pelissero says that the NFLPA is proposing a change in the NFL schedule, basically saying we want a ramp up period before training camp, as opposed to these OTAs and then these off-season conditioning programs that take place. And then there's like a month and a half off, and then you get right back into training camp full speed like a weekend. Something similar to this took place during COVID, and Aaron Rodgers came on our show during that and was like, that's the best my arm has ever felt. Because during the OTAs, you're throwing, and then you have a month and a half where you kind of take a break naturally, but you're getting your own workout in, and then you get dropped right into training camp, and okay, you got 3 weeks to get back into regular season form. With COVID, because they had to delay some shit and figure some shit out, they did an extended ramp up that basically seemingly makes sense scientifically for bodies. Now, there's a lot of ancillary shit that we have to talk about with this particular decision. D-Butt talked about this as soon as it was brought up. Young guys probably in a bad spot here because they don't get around OGs or team until right before training camp. That's certainly something that's going to get brought to the table.
I hate this change that they're proposing, at least. And like Aaron, obviously he's a guy that doesn't necessarily need OTAs, especially being with Green Bay for so long, knows the system inside and out, can pretty much teach the coaches the system. But for most players, and honestly a lot of these young coaches too, like this is the first time a lot of these young guys are around vets. You see how they go about meetings. You see them taking notes. You go through walkthroughs, installs. You have all these different things. And, like, time off is cool. And I feel like, the union, that's always kind of like a trade-off. Oh, we got more time off. But, like, if you're a player, like, you got a small window to, like, make your money, make your impact on the team, learn plays, and then apply them to the field. So, like, you mentioned it earlier, the main thing is the main thing. Like, football is the main thing. Like, what else are you prioritizing, even in the offseason? Like, your season over in January for half the league, early February, Valentine's Day pretty much for the champs. And you got a couple months off, OTA starting, and you got that month and a half break where you could take another trip or do whatever and then come back into the training camp and be ready. Now I just feel like that longer time off, and now you're showing up a couple weeks before training camp. So now already long season will now be even longer. Like it's just I feel like a bad mix. I don't know why it's even been proposed, but people are always trying to figure out things I don't think necessarily need to be figured out.
I was not a part of bingo. If it's not broke, you don't have to fix it all the time. But like I think with that COVID thing, the way they did it, and AJ, you might know more than me because obviously you and Aaron were just hanging out like a week ago, and I assume you guys chat every single day. Was Aaron the norm with how everybody else felt going into season? Like body felt better than ever, in best shape going into camp? And is that because some guys can't handle the away time to get themselves in shape for camp, so the OTAs are basically serving as like, hey, this is pretty much what you need to do to be in shape for camp? Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how everybody feels, but I know when people have that extended period of time off and, the lockout situation, then we went to camp right like July 31st, August 1st, whenever it was, bam, we all just went straight to camp, no real ramp up. That was unbelievable. Everyone actually seemed to love that. When like D-Butt said, though, the younger player thing, I 100% agree. I remember I got drafted, and 4 days later, because Mike McCarthy, it was his first year, we had a full team veteran mini camp, not just a rookie camp. So I'm lined up trying to jam Donald Driver in the slot 15 yards downfield, and he's yelling at me, hey, it's in college. You can't do this. So I know, though, just from taking part in that, like, 2-day mini camp, being around the dudes, like all the guys, already made me 1,000 times more comfortable when I came back to work in OTAs with them.
Maybe they'll do something.
Yeah.
Round
maybe just 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
Well,
how do you do it?
This proposal, I wonder if they're just trying to figure out what the answer is for off season. I haven't heard a lot of people bitching about this off season. Have we?
No, not at all.
I mean, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase not there in Cincinnati, so that's obviously big storyline because they would like to have contracts done. And I guess with where the time is right now, with when contracts have to be done by for the regular season, I guess these types of situations do boil in the offseason where guys aren't there at voluntary stuff because they're in the middle of contract disputes, or OGs aren't at the voluntary stuff because they have the same offense coordinator. They've been there. They're having a little bit more offseason. But it doesn't sound like anybody's like really bitching right now.
Because it's not hard. You know what I mean? You show up there for a few hours, you work out, you practice, you meet, and then you pretty much have the rest of the day. Now, if your team is in a city that sucks and you're away from your home in
like where?
Phoenix or Miami or somewhere like that, LA, that may suck. But the work part of it, and you're getting used to the different guys. Like, I forgot who we had on, but they were like, yeah, every player is here. Like, every person is in attendance. Packers, one of the teams that went deep to the playoffs. And, like, that's typically how it is. And if you have to miss, it's not a big deal. Like, hey, my daughter got a graduation, or my son got this. Like, I won't be here for a couple of days. It's pretty cool. But, I'm sure they'll figure it out and make it work. But with this longer season coming, which we all know it is, that would really, really suck to be, everything just rolls kind of into an 18-game season.
Yeah, having 5 months off or 4.5 months off and then like 6.5 or whatever it is. Straight would be an interesting guys handling their free time.
Got to be a pro. Like, that's the true test. Hey, you're a pro now. It's on you.
Yeah. I mean, mine was in season, so.
You can imagine how they all.
Yeah, I couldn't even.
But like now with all the Rashee Rice stuff, like it kind of hammers it home even more. It's like, hey, this guy probably should be in Kansas City getting ready, but he's back in Dallas or wherever around a bunch of his boys and getting in trouble constantly.
Got to be a pro. To that point, you got to be a pro. It's on you. And I would tell all the young guys out there, hey, I'm a firm believer in the buddy system. Get your buddy. I had a buddy every offseason. Me and my guy Tyvon Branch, we would live together, live close to each other, and that was the guy. That we were working out. We had our workouts. We had our shit. And, like, if it was a day where I felt like bullshit, he'll hit me, hey, let's go. We got to go do this, and vice versa. So I firmly believe in that buddy system for sure.
Accountability buddies.
Hell yeah.
You need accountability buddies. Always got to have accountability buddies.
Not just football.